So today is the 23rd of May 2012 and I just want to show a little toy that I picked up yesterday. So what this is here is it's a semi-recumbent bike. So it's designed a whole lot differently than a traditional type of bike, in that what the recumbent bike tries to do is it tries to get your frontal area so it's a lot less than it is on a traditional bike. So the seat's much lower to the ground and the pedals are like really far in front of where you're sitting, so your legs kind of go almost horizontal when you're sitting down instead of vertically the way that they do on a normal bike. So you can see the seat's way further behind where the cranks are. Usually the seat would be pretty much directly above where the cranks were, but this is obviously quite a bit different. So it's made with using really small wheels. This one has a 20-inch back wheel and I believe a 16-inch front wheel. So that's how they get you to be lower to the ground, or that's one way of doing it. What makes this a semi-recumbent bike is you see the handlebars are still way up in the air, just a traditional type of a steering system where it's one solid shaft, or one straight shaft which goes from the wheel all the way up to the handlebars, where other more full recumbent bike you'd have maybe your handlebars sort of sitting at your side for steering, or maybe they'd be right in front of you instead of being up quite a bit higher than where the seat is there. So yeah, this is just something that I saw in Kijiji on the weekend, or actually my dad found it, and it was just such a bargain that I couldn't help buying it for the price that was there, even though I have a lot of bikes already and I don't really need another one. And as it turns out, this one's actually too small for me, but it's still cool to have it for a few days. It's fairly likely that I'll end up reselling this to someone someday because it's not really the right size for me. But anyways, I'll just go over like a little technical overview of everything. We'll look at how they've done this, what makes it different than a traditional bike, basically. So it uses a 20-inch back wheel, so basically the kind of wheel that you'd see on well, it's the same size of wheel that I have on my folding bike, and it's also what you see on a lot of kids bikes. So it's got aluminum rim on the back there, and a tire which is not too knobby, just more of a street type of tire, and then you've got cassette on there. That's a 6-speed cassette. And at the front there are 3 chain rings, so this is an 18-speed bike. So that's fairly good amount of speeds for the amount of ratios you can try with. It uses V brakes, which are my favorite type of brakes, and it's got that one of those in the front and one of those in the back. And just a traditional sort of setup up here. You've got grip shifters, which I'm not a huge fan of, but for this application they work just fine. And then your brake levers are just up there, and they just work like any other bike as in terms of your handlebars. It looks like you can raise and lower this handlebars here. You can see that they well, it looks like right here I haven't played with this at all, by the way, but it looks like there's an Allen bolt that you can undo there, and then you can lower this down lower so that maybe your handlebars aren't quite as high. And I can see they have these bolts, or these threaded holes here in these little notch things that stick out from there. And if I have to guess, I'm going to guess that's where your water bottle cage would go for this bike if you wanted to have a water bottle cage on it. So then looking down here at the front wheel, so as I said, it's a 16-inch front wheel, and yeah, it's aluminum wheel. Hardly any spokes on there. It's kind of my bike trailer has the same diameter of wheel, and it actually looks quite similar. So not a whole lot of spokes there. And you've got, as I said before, V brakes on the front as well. The bottom bracket area looks very familiar to what you'd see on just about any other bike. Just works exactly the same way. And it's just, I'm sure this is just a regular crank that they just pulled off the shelf from any other bike. And same on the other side. Just a regular 3-speed crank set. And it's got this piece down here, which I believe is just for protecting you from the chain a little bit. As the wheel is so far away from the crank, you've got quite a long chain that comes all the way across there. This chain is probably well, it's just a regular chain, I'm sure, but they probably put maybe 2, 3, or maybe even 4 regular chains, maybe not 4, probably only 2 chains actually, from a regular bike to make it fit on here. And regular derailleur back there, just the kind that you see on just about any other bike. I'm sure it's not anything special, just a Shimano derailleur. But what is special up here is you got your seat. So your seat tube, instead of being vertical, it's horizontal. So this is where your seat goes in, and this is the huge seat post, which is, I guess, kind of part of the frame as well, where your seat is mounted. So the way it works here is you got this bolt here, which you know, pinches the tube around the outside of this here, and that's what holds it in place. And the tube has this little notch there, and I believe this is a little set screw there, or just a little notch there thing that keeps your seat so it doesn't, you know, wobble back and forth, and it keeps it so that it's you know, in the upright position. It's also got this little backrest thing, which I think I looked up this company online. It's a French or a Montreal-based, Quebec-based company, I think. And in the pictures, this backrest thing was it was angled up quite a bit more, and I think the previous owner may have bent it a little bit or something. But it's really too small for me anyway, so I don't really get the full advantage of how that seat is supposed to work. And it comes with a kickstand as well, which is kind of important because it's, you know, very long and probably easy to get knocked over when you're just leaning up against stuff. So it's just a very short little, very basic kind of kickstand, possibly the same kind they might use on a bike with you know, 20-inch wheels or something like that. So as I said before, it's definitely too small for me, but I'm going to go and sit on it anyways and just, you know, show you how I think it's supposed to work when you sit on it. And it looks, actually, when I looked on the website for this company, it looks like this bike was actually meant for like a young child, or not a young child, but, you know, someone that's maybe age 8 to 12 or something like that. So definitely, you know, I'm definitely bigger than that, but I'll show you what it looks like anyways. So I believe you're supposed to sit on this part here, and then your feet go on the pedals. But my knees are almost even touching the handlebars here, which is not good. So when you pedal, you know, you should have your foot, your leg should be almost fully extended when you're at the bottom of your stroke here. So it's definitely too small for me here, because my leg, you know, it should be extending all the way out to back here. But of course, you're not supposed to be sitting on this thing back here, and it's not very comfortable either. But anyways, I'm just going to put my helmet on, and I'll just do a quick little spin around the block and show you what it looks like.